Welcome to the Gleeful Meeple, a podcast all about board games where strategy meets laughter and marbles ain't just for shooting. In this episode, we talk about how we've changed as gamers over the years. We do this to grab those to trigger that in this week's game of the show, Gizmos. And you, the Gleeples, get to play along as the hosts get put in the hot seat with this week's game challenge. The smartest minds of our generation are gathering together at the Great Science Fair. Everyone's been working hard on their creations, but only one will be crowned champion. Will your machine be the best? Hey, fellow Gizmo gadgeteers.
What up?
Hi, James.
Hi, James.
It's Emily.
This is JK.
And Dwayne's here.
Hey, and James is here. And guys, I have a big old riddle for you.
All right.
Riddle.
I'm on a hot streak with
go.
these riddles here. I need to keep this going.
I'm so bad at them.
This is a long one, so let me read it all the way out before we stop.
Okay.
It takes a city, as some might say, to build an everlasting thing to put on display. When you hear a bell ring, it means an angel got its wings. As history will come to describe all these, just like the movies, so too can our life be full of big things. Invite your leaders and sail with the armada. There's ruins on the horizon. This is becoming a big enchilada. Still not sure what grand things I display? You'll need two hands to count all the ways. Look to your neighbor for help that you need. The stone and lumber are available, albeit for a fee.
I think I've got it.
Oh.
I'm surprised it took you someone that long.
Well, there was a couple clues you gave that sent me in a couple different directions, but I think I've come around to one game.
Anybody else?
I think I have something.
I have a guess, but I'm not feeling very confident about it.
I'll let
Would you like me to reread it?
Yes.
All right, here we go. It takes a city, as some might say, to build an everlasting thing to put on display. When you hear a bell ring, it means an angel got its wings. As history will come to describe all these, just like the movies, so too can our life be full of big things. Invite your leaders and sail with the armada. There's ruins on the horizon. This is becoming a big enchilada. Still not sure what grand things I display? You'll need two hands to count all the ways. Look to your neighbor for the help that you need. The stone and lumber are available, albeit for a fee.
Yeah. I definitely have this.
Take it, JK.
It's Seven Wonders.
Yeah.
It is Seven Wonders.
Okay. Yes. I was so
Oh my
overthinking
gosh. It has been
but
so long since I've played that.
Did y'all get the weirdest clue in there?
The enchilada?
About hearing a bell ring?
Well, so when you said that, I went to an angel gets its wings when a bell is rung is from It's a Wonderful Life.
It is.
Which made me go, It's a Wonderful World at first.
Oh, okay.
So that's
Okay.
when you finally gave the clue about
Wonder.
needing both hands to count. I was like, okay, it's 7. That's fine.
Wonder.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
I was
Nice.
overthinking the two hands. That's so funny.
Okay, odd question for you guys.
What's up, JK?
Go on.
Do you like saltwater taffy?
Yes.
Is that a candy of choice for you?
Yes.
I mean, it's something that you don't find everywhere. I feel like I usually find it when I'm on vacation, maybe on the shore or in Gatlinburg. So, like, do I search it out? No. But if I'm going by a shop and they're like, here, do you want free taffy? I'll say yes.
Yeah. See, like for me, it's one of my go-to candies. For my wife, she thinks it tastes like melted plastic, so she's not that into it.
Yeah.
But there is a shop that is based out of Utah, and somehow it ended up on one of my YouTube feeds or Facebook feeds or whatever, and it's just called Taffy Shop. And I started researching their website. They were apparently one of the originators of saltwater taffy back when it was up in Atlantic City in New Jersey back in the 20s, 30s, whenever that was. They have since relocated and kind of like rebranded their shop. They have some of the coolest flavors of taffy ever. Like,
All right, I'm looking at it
Name
right
some of them
now.
off.
okay, here's a few of their fusion flavors. So you have Very Fire Berry Taffy, which is blueberry, raspberry, and cayenne pepper.
What?
Oh,
You have Hipsters in Paradise, which is grapefruit, basil, and mint.
that's
Norm's Hot Honey Taffy, which is hot sauce and honey. We've got Zen Master, which is lemon, lavender, and chamomile. Grandma Hazel is a nut is chocolate, hazelnut, raspberry, and cream cheese. Superman's Play-Doh is lemon, vanilla pudding, and raspberry. They've got one that's called Goat, which is ginger, orange, apricot, and turmeric, that they wanted to style that after like an energy shot drink.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy flavors. What's really nice about them is they are pricey. I mean, it's a good high quality taffy, but they do a thing called the whole chew bang, which basically if you buy the whole chew bang, it's a $50 bag, but you get 2 pieces of every single flavor they produce. So you can kind of sample and pick and choose what you like.
Oh, that's neat.
Oh my word. And it's like, I'm looking up the website right now and these are so pretty.
Yes. They're not a sponsor by any means. So I'm not necessarily doing this, out of mutual benefit. But if any of you listeners out there are a fan of saltwater taffy, go on and just check out taffyshop.com. It is absolutely worth the investment.
Well, guys, we've been friends for a while.
Yes.
Yeah.
Go on.
That's a way.
That's a way
Sounds
to.
a little threatening.
But we've not been friends for as long as all of us have been gamers.
That's true. I don't know. Emily,
I feel like I've been friends with Emily as long as she's been a gamer.
I was about to say, I might be the exception.
You're the exception.
I played board games as a kid and like got into Catan in high school, but finding this group really like got me back into it.
But even during the short time that you've been gaming, you've changed as a gamer a pretty good amount.
Oh yeah. Big time.
So I thought it'd be fun to talk about that. Let's look back at, what of our gaming, I don't know, careers, gaming lives, gaming, I don't know what you call it.
Yes.
How
There's
we
a lot
changed.
of shame in my history.
I'm so glad we're talking about this. I always get like super reflective, like whenever we're at the end of the year. And what better way to be reflective than reflecting on my own gaming hobby?
What was the first game you played with our group? Do you remember?
I do. It was So Clover. And friend of the show, Ryan, taught me So Clover and then let me like take his seat. And then we played that. And then we played Coup. And that's where I met Dwayne, because Dwayne came in halfway through a game of Coup. And the person tried to tell him that. And he was like, I'll be fine. He just getting ready to. It's a short game.
Well, the irony of your riddle too, James. The first game I ever played at an event of ours was Seven Wonders. I brought it and taught it the first time I showed up. Yeah.
Oh my word. That's like. I'm thinking like recently I got introduced to Agricola and the friend I was playing it with kind of remarked like, oh, I'm like shocked like you haven't played this before, because Agricola feels like that kind of like classic like Euro like worker placement like that I would have had in my history, but because we primarily meet at breweries for our gaming events, I was like, that has a lot of pieces and it takes a lot of space, so I don't think that's just wouldn't have been in the environment. So I think when I first started out gaming, it was still more of that like lighter fare, the smaller games, that medium to medium easy. But then it was like, as I started getting to know people and like started having game nights at people's houses, that's when I started getting into the crunchier, heavier stuff.
Yeah. I think I've already told the lengthy story of how I got into gaming. I won't resurface that again, but my first couple craft board games were Ticket to Ride and Small World, and that was during a snowstorm that hit Nashville. From there, I went down a deep rabbit hole, and I think this is where I've probably changed most as a gamer. I think my shelf of shame, the next game that I bought was Munchkin, and I went hardcore into Munchkin. I think I bought just about every expansion I could find, and then realized shortly after, hey, this isn't as fun as it was the first time I played it. So that kind of steered me in a different direction.
Did you go to Flux instead?
I did. I actually bought a couple different Fluxes. Yeah. But where I really decided I wanted to lean in and kind of build my collection was I went to the BGG Top 100 and basically just started buying everything. And where I have changed as a gamer is I realized I don't necessarily like everything that's popular all the time. And some of those games in the top, even in the top 10, I've owned, I hated them.
Yeah, I've definitely become a bit, I don't know if pickier is the right word, but cognizant and of what I like and what I don't like.
You know your lane.
Yeah, and I'm fine not liking games that everyone else loves, but loving games that no one else likes.
I definitely think I've gotten pickier, and it's like I even notice it at events sometimes where it's like I see kind of like what's out there, and I'm like, I don't really want to play any of these right now.
When was that, JK? When did you say?
10 years ago?
Okay.
I would say probably. Well, and I think you look at our, even my buying habits in the last couple of years, one of it was financially driven, not, losing my job at some point. But I kind of look at one of our friends, we were referencing him earlier today, friend of the show, Mike Hudson, who is just an avid board game buyer, trader, collector. It seems like watching him as he's prepping for TGD coming up, he's getting everything that's on the flea market, and I have yet to buy anything on the flea market. So that I think my tastes have just changed in terms of even acquiring as many games as I once was.
That's what, like, one of these days, I'm going to write an essay in podcast format of the levels of nerddom of being a board gamer. Because that's when I felt like, so I was like, I first got to the group in like March of 2023, 22, whatever year that was. And went to my first TGD like 5 months later, like it was September that year. And that was kind of my first foray into buying games. And I was like really like buying the smaller games because I live in an apartment, and I was like only really buying games I knew I could like play with my family. But that felt like a level up. Like I went from only playing what anyone else would bring to the events to like, oh, now I have my own game that I'm going to bring and I'm going to teach it. And now it's like my shelf is bursting at the seams right now. So I've like entered that phase of like buying games, teaching games, and now I have to hold off on buying again.
Yeah, I was looking back on trying to think when I started gaming, and I kind of broke my years of gaming kind of into phases. So I didn't realize it, but this marks about 20 years of being into gaming.
Wow.
Yeah. I can't identify exactly what year we started gaming back home, but I call it the 2000s were my FFG years. And I hadn't really thought about it now that we're always playing the new hotness and all that. But, back then it was my group just played Descent, Arkham, BSG, and Citadels
over and over
all
and
the
over
time.
again. Yeah.
And that sounds like a good time.
It was an awesome time. And the idea of playing the same game a lot over and over isn't how I'm a gamer anymore. Like new stuff comes out all the time, and I can't think of a game that we just play on a weekly basis over and over again. But that's what we did back then. I mean, it was a ton of just BSG, Arkham, and Descent and Citadels. Those are the 4 games, and I don't play any games like that anymore.
Yeah, yeah. I think I still try and find games that I can add that are going to be, kind of in my forever collection. And those I'll upgrade. I'll add new pieces to, upgrade bits and things like that. But I still think I am perfectly fine with buying a game at a reasonable price, getting it to the table, playing it once and going, this one's not for me. I'm going to go ahead and sell it. And that's a weird mentality to have, maybe. I don't know.
No, that's what I remember, like looking to JK and you, Dwayne, like that first year or two in the group. Like I remember there was something with our games just being out at events. So we had this conversation of like, oh, well, maybe we should like put names on games or whatever. And I remember writing my name in Sharpie inside the cover of like Bang the Dice game. And maybe it was James who said it. It was like, oh, I just usually put my name on a sticky note and put it in the box. And I was like, no, I'm going to keep this game. I'm not going to sell it. And now like here I am like, oh, I'm like, I view it as phases too, James, the way I think about like being a gamer. And I'm like, yep, no, I'm about to enter that phase of like, oh, it's just going to be a churn of like, okay, just rotation of like, okay, I'm going to buy some games. I'm going to sell some games, buy some games. I'm going to sell some games, trade some games, sell some games. Like it's, I see that on the horizon as like a phase I'm about to embark on.
So for me, I feel like I've never really appreciated the cult of the new that hits our hobby so much. Like, I tend to pick up what I like and stick with it for a while. And I think one reason for that is because what I play has so many variations on how to play it. I kind of really want to dig into that game, and I'll go with one of my favorites and something I've talked about on the show a few times, Arkham Horror 2nd Edition. Even in the base game, there's several investigators, there's several great old ones. By the time you play through that and you've run through all the investigators and you've run through all of the great old ones, and not even to consider like how many locations there are and the different cards you can see when you're visiting locations, like that's a lot of content for me. Now, that being said, I am also a big fan of, can I get this at the right price? And I will pick things up that way. But I've never, like, BGG and reviews do not drive a lot of what I do. It's mostly like, what will I pay for this? So I love board game flea markets. I love used game stores and that sort of thing, just trying to get a good deal and trying to find something that catches my attention. I just learned this phrase recently I have a friend who, like, he is to collecting movies what we are to collecting board games, and he introduced me to the phrase blind buy, and that is simply when you buy a board game or a movie without having played it, like, oh, this cover looks good or that sort of thing. And I'm like, I am a sucker for the blind buy if it's at a good price. And JK, like you were saying, like if I pick it up for $10, $15 and I get a play out of it, by the time I've sat down and learned it and played it, I've gotten 2.5, 3 hours out of that game. That's the same as going to a movie at the theater for me, right?
You can't get lunch at a fast food restaurant for $10 these days. So
yeah. Oh my gosh, what kind of world well, anyway, yeah. I feel like gross every time I go out to eat now. I'm like, am I really paying this for this?
Yes.
What is happening?
Yes.
But that's a whole different, that's for next year's podcast. We can talk about that later. But yeah, I just kind of find what I like. And one nice thing about that is being in an active board game group is we get to sample. It's like going to a potluck, right? You get to try a little bit of everything, see what works for you, see what doesn't. But yeah, it can be difficult with so many people constantly bringing new stuff. I feel like really good old stuff gets overshadowed a lot.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, I still look back to those old games that we played all the time with a lot of fond memories, but also like thinking that there's not a lot that can replace some of that stuff. Like, I mean, even Arkham 3rd Edition doesn't give me the same feel as 2nd Edition.
No, it's a completely different style of game.
Mm-hmm. But I came out of the 2000s, those FFG years. I didn't actually own any of those games. It was someone else in our game group that had them all. I didn't purchase my first hobby game until 2009, which was Dominion.
Okay.
Dominion was the first time I actually went out and bought my own game just for me. I just heard about it. So I can't remember why, but I wanted it. And so I went out and got it. And, but the idea of a collection still wasn't a common thing at that point. I feel like in gaming, like not to the level that a lot of us have now. I feel like people had like a small shelf of games or something. But back then, like I had Dominion, and then I started to buy one or two other games, and then Kickstarter started happening, and I started backing games in 2015. So like my 2010s is when I started to buy games for myself, and then also crowdfunding kicked in, and I tried to find the earliest picture I could of my gaming shelf, and I'd already bought a Kalix, so I didn't have anything from way back when, but it was definitely the 2010s when I started collecting games, following games, getting on Board Game Geek. I created my newest account on Board Game Geek in 2018, but I feel like I had an old one somewhere that I had to let go because I lost the login information or the email or something. But
is that why you think there are more than one James DeVito on BGG? They're all you?
Yeah.
That's funny.
I was trying to search for like an old account with different names I would have used, but I couldn't find it. But in 2010, I started to build a collection. But yeah, Dominion was my first one, 2009.
It cracks me up going to other people's houses and I'll look at their shelf and I'm like, how do you have 4 games? Like, how do you just have 4? Like, I don't understand that anymore.
Emily, when you see those kinds of collections, do you find it's usually classic stuff like Monopoly, Risk, Clue, or do they have like very specific hobby games?
It depends, because it's like some of this like is my family members, and so it'll be a mix of kind of like a classic game and then like whatever kind of was on Target. And because it was like, I think like my cousin has like Get On Board and like bought it for like her kids. It's when it was college, it was Cards Against Humanity. Like that was like in everyone's like board game collection. So yeah, it just depends. Sometimes I just see classic. Sometimes I see whatever is like from Target or something.
Yeah. If I really go back to the day, like I can still remember working at Blockbuster in college. So this was in '93, and this regular came in, and he knew I was on the geeky spectrum, and he was like, "Man, I just played this card game. I think you'd like it a lot. It's called Magic the Gathering." I was like, "Tell me more." And it was the
Let me give
summer
you the
of
first pack
'94
of cards for free, and then we're going to hook you into this.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, no doubt. But I remember going home. That this would have been summer of '94. Going home and finding some friends who played, and we went out and we would buy boosters and just sit in my friend's basement all night and play Magic the Gathering. And unfortunately, that was the time of the boom of trading card games, and I was buying almost a starter deck of everything that came out, because it was like, $10 for a starter deck, $20, and you had enough for 2 players. And there were some cool things coming out at that time. Steve Jackson did an Illuminati trading card game. Atlas did a Over the Edge trading card game, and none of those things really stuck around to any degree the way Magic did. I can't think of anything that's actually still currently published from that time frame, but I think that was my first step into the bigger gaming hobby, and it was because of a trading card game, the Marvel Versus game, that I ended up at Gen Con volunteering one year, and then that just opened my eyes to the hobby on a large scale. Like, wow, this is there are thousands of us, Michael.
One thing I've noticed changing the more I've gotten into this hobby is how I listen to rules and how I teach rules.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Because I remember, because I feel like I'll go through phases where it's like, maybe like work is really busy or hectic for like a season. And it's like, okay, I cannot absorb any new rules right now. So just like, give me a game I'm familiar with, or give me a super easy game I can learn. But it's the more, it's just like pattern matching. It feels like sometimes where it's just like, oh, I've played this style of game before. Like I think about like Agricola, like when I was looking at it, I was starting to get overwhelmed just by how many things were going on. And I looked at the rule book, and like towards the back of the rule book, the font gets really small, and it feels like when the medication commercial lists the side effects at the very end of the rehearsal really, really fast. Yeah, that's what it felt like at the end of that rule book. But as our friend was going through the explanation, I was like, oh, I got this. Like, it's worker placement. Like, I know some strategies for worker placement. I did not use them when I played Agricola. I failed miserably, but it was one of those, I felt like I could understand the game much faster than I would have 2-3 years ago.
So the oldest picture I have on my phone of my game collection is from 2017. And just for fun, my son and I stacked up all of the games and made like this tower in one part of our house. Dwayne, I don't know if you can even see this via Zoom, just to get an idea of what I have.
Yeah.
That's probably a couple hundred games, I would think. But even looking at these stacks, the majority, I don't want to say the majority, a significant portion of these stacks aren't even in the collection anymore. So I can't tell you how many games
like
I've bought.
Completely like turned over.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the way that I manage my collection is way more. I don't know if I'd say. I mean, it is intentional, but I'm not scared to get rid of games like I was for. There was when you're building your collection, you have all these games, you don't want to get rid of anything. But going back to your point of being okay with playing it one time and getting rid of it, I still feel fine with that. I got an experience out of it. If the game did something unique, but even if I didn't like it, it's still something to take away and add to my hobby experience, game experience. To take, that was neat. I'd be curious to see that in another game, and it just take it with you. But another way in which I've changed over the years. So going back to like the 2000s and FFG days. For a long time, all I really played was, you don't hear this term used much in the hobby anymore, but Ameritrash games.
Yes.
Like lots of dice rolling, and, it's not, Euros, a lot more randomness.
You have a lot less control of what's happening to you in the game.
That's right. Yeah. And so it was a lot of those, and I didn't get into Euros until way later. Like I remember, I think the first time I played Heaven and Ale, and it was with you, I think, JK, in that game. It was one of my first introductions to getting into Euro games. My group, I know they were being imported way earlier in the 2000s. They existed, but my group just didn't play them. It was always the FFG stuff, the Ameritrash stuff. So Euros, and that's why I think where a lot of my AP came from, is because it just took me so long to play those games. My brain just wasn't prepared for it when we dove in. So now it's a lot better, but I was not a Euro gamer, and that's why I've missed out on a lot of the classics like Agricola and I still haven't played them.
I definitely ramped up my difficulty of play early on in the collecting era, which is where I left my wife behind, because she was really more of a midweight, lightweight gamer. And when I started getting into the heavier Euros, she just checked out and said, go find a friend group. And that's how I ended up here. I do find now, though, I go through waves where I really want to play really heavy games. I did that for about a year last year. I'm not at that point right now. I kind of have flipped around, and now I'm like, okay, I want something I can get on the table and play for half an hour and be done. So that's a weird fluctuation in my collection of which style am I playing more often than others now. I haven't played an Ameritrash in a while.
We've done a lot of reflecting on our past. Do we want to kind of like wrap this up by saying when we think will change next or in the future?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, no. I don't know. So the question is, we've talked about where we're going, where we came from in our game collections. Do we start to speculate where we're going? I don't think I can, because I don't know what will happen to my collection now that I'm, kind of working again. I've got good income. Do I suddenly flip the script and start buying more games again? I've got room in the building for them. So
that's what, and you're switching to day shift too. So you'll get to come to events again. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, as a gamer moving forward, I think I've really nailed down on the collection side. Yeah. But also just what kind of games I enjoy and how I want to spend my time. And so a little bit of maybe a preview of next episode. We'll be talking a little bit about our, looking back on the last year and our delights and disappointments maybe. And some of what I'll be talking about relates to who I am as a gamer right now and the amount of effort I want to put into getting a game tabled, learned, played, and then realizing, am I ever going to get this played again? Like, although I'm okay with playing a game one time, is going through all that effort just for one time enough on some of these games? Yeah. And I'm similar to you, JK. For I started to get a lot of heavier games, and some of them are made in stuck in my collection. But I'm becoming a lot pickier now about. I still enjoy them, but I don't want to play all of them. I'm seeing a lot of things in games now that they're kind of doing the same stuff in different ways. And I'm kind of tapered back a little bit on how heavy I want to go, just because it just takes so long to get to the table.
Part of it's a little FOMO too. You go to a game event and you play one heavy game, which that experience might be great, but you're getting to watch your friends cycle through 4 or 5 games in that same time. You're like, what am I missing out on some of the fun they're having with that?
Mm-hmm. So yeah, moving forward, I think I'm going to be getting my collection even not thinned out, but I add and remove games all the time. I'm just not a problem for me at all. So some I keep on the shelf for years, even if I haven't played them, just because one of the days I do want it. They're unique. I can't get them anywhere else. I'll get them tabled at some point.
That's why I kind of mentioned that, like, looking forward, I'm probably going to get into the trading and selling more soon. But I think I'm also about to reach this phase where I play more games that I own rather than new to me games, like other than like the podcast games, of course. But it's my boyfriend and I have just been like talking, or it's like we both like to figure out games. And so sometimes like the churn of just new, like new rules, new learning, like can get overwhelming. And it's like, well, I don't want to move on. I want to go back to what we just did and play it again so I can try different strategies. So I think we'll start to be doing that a lot more next year, or just in the future in general.
Dwayne, you've got some room for some additional shelves in there. You gonna expand the collection this year?
Oh my goodness, no! My near future of gaming is going to be really trying to focus on playing things, or at least setting up things that I haven't played, and determining whether or not they're going to be staying in the collection. My on the bubble games.
It's Dwayne's Survivor year.
It's just I'm just at a point where I've got so many games and so many things that I've never even I've got a few things that I haven't even opened up, and I want to focus on what I really enjoy and not try to play everything. Just find those real gems that. And one big component on that is how good it solos and how good it plays with two players, if it is something that is in my wife's wheelhouse.
Yeah.
All right, Gleeples, this episode's game of the show is Gizmos. Gizmos was, at one time at least, published by CMON. Do we pour one out for CMON yet or no? Are they still actually around?
Not yet.
They're having a rough patch for sure.
All right, let's get one ready to be poured out on the deck. It was designed by Phil Walker Harding. Art was by Hannah Cardoso, Julia Ferrari. What a cool last name. Et al. There's a few other artists in there, but guess what? Being first in alphabetical order, it was good for Hannah and Julia in this case. It was released in 2018. Plays 2 to 4 players, but it's at its most gleeful at 3 players. JK, walk us through Gizmos.
The smartest minds of our generation are gathering together at the Great Science Fair. Everyone's been working hard on their creations, but only one will be crowned champion. Contestants have to think on the fly to build their machines quickly and efficiently. Whose project will be the best? So Gizmos is an engine builder, and on your turn, you have 4 things you can do. You can file, which is drawing a card from a public market, putting it in your archive, allowing you to build it later. You can pick taking 1 energy marble from the 3D marble dispenser into your storage. You can build 1 machine and put it to action. Of course, to do that, you have to pay your marbles to do that. And research. You can draw cards and then either file or build one of the draw cards, and then the rest go to the bottom of your deck. Machines give you victory points and allow you to do more actions when conditions are met. As you build, new attachments will trigger chain reactions, letting you do even more on your turn. Players are going to play until 1 player has added either the 16th component to their machine or has built 4 level 3 components on their machine. Once that's done, there's a round of final scoring, and that's it. That's Gizmos. Get your gadget on.
JK, thank you for... I had no idea what the backstory was for Gizmos, so that was interesting. I appreciate you walking us through that.
Machines and marbles. That's all you need to know.
Yeah. So Gizmo's pretty tight little engine builder, right?
Mm-hmm. No fluff, no like whatever. And hot take, the superior marble game.
Oh, between that and Potion Explosion?
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. Yeah, this is way better.
I think I'm going to be honest. If it comes down to the 2 of those, I'm not going to never pick Gizmos, but I'll probably pick Potion Explosion a little more often.
All right.
Yeah, that's a tough
Interesting.
one for me. I feel the play experience is just different.
It's the matchup no one asked for, but I'm sticking my flag in the ground anyway.
So Gizmos kind of reminds me of Splendor to some degree in that
Yes.
you start the game with very limited resources. There's only so much you can do on your initial turns to buy the cheapest stuff possible.
Yes.
And then it just kind of builds from there. That's engine building in a nutshell. But it really reminds me of those type of games. It scales so fast. Like when you get into that, 10th, 11th turn, James, you had this happen a couple times where you're looking at those chain reactions that are being, activated by whatever action you chose. You kind of leaned into the build element, and you had 4 or 5 cards that were activating every time you built. I chose to kind of more spread the wealth and have something everywhere, so I wasn't getting quite as much bang for my buck. But it's still a satisfying feeling, especially when one card triggers another, which triggers another, and it just kind of bounces around.
Oh man, because I think the first engine builder I was ever introduced to was Furnace.
Okay.
Which is another really good one, but it also adds the mechanics of auction or bidding. And Gizmos is just way simpler. It has open market, I guess. I forget what the exact mechanism name for that is, but it's I really like Gizmos for its simplicity in you do one thing on your turn, but that one thing just might start a cascade effect. And so it's one of those games where it can kind of start slow in the sense that you're not triggering a lot. It takes a minute to build up your engine, but then by the end of the game, it's pinballing everywhere around your little tableau area.
There are some random elements that come into the game. So the card order that they come into the game, totally random. And machine parts are either going to be blue, red, yellow, or black. Are those our 4 only colors? Yes. So you never know which machine parts are going to hit the play area first. You're also limited in the number of marbles you can draw and the color that you can draw, because there's only so many out in public view at any time. You do have the ability to draw some at random, but that's at random. So you don't know what you're going to get. One of the constraints to the game is you might have all of the marbles for one color, but there's none of those machine parts coming up at that time.
Yeah.
That's what I have been screwed by that before, where I try to build my engine to favor me building black gizmos. And then it's the only marble, the energy available to pick from is yellow or yellow and red. And it's oh, I have literally nothing in my engine built up to do this, and my filed away gizmos has already met its limit.
Right.
And that can be a frustrating moment to be in the game.
Yeah, and they give you some ways to mitigate that a little bit with converters. So one of the card types you can buy are converters that will, if you buy it, it's an ever-present, you can call it a power, I guess, available to you. So I can turn my reds into anything I want. You can trigger it once per turn.
Yeah.
So I can make this red into any other color, or I can turn 1 black into 2 blacks, 1 red into 2 reds. And so there's different type of conversion powers you can get. And I do try to always get 1 or 2 of those just as a backup kind of flexibility.
Yep.
Yeah. So if I get
Exactly.
screwed like that, I'm well, if I can at least get one of my converter, colors, just always in my marble availability, I can usually buy a level 2 something, because I'll have my converted one and then I'll have some other color. So they give you some power to mitigate that, but you never know exactly what it's going to show up as. So, but you can try to work with that. And that's one thing I do like about this, about Gizmos is, and I agree with you, Emily, with it, no fluff. One of the notes I wrote down was just it doesn't have any unnecessary complication.
No.
Yes.
It is just super clean. And the powers they do give you, nothing's convoluted, nothing's weird. It just all makes sense. Even when the combos trigger, it's triggering things that are very straightforward. Oh, when I do this, I get to pick something. When I pick something, I get to do this. But it's nothing strange you have to keep track of. They didn't throw in all the extra stuff that's really common in games. Here's these end game common objective goals, and here's this and here's that. I forgot it was Phil Walker Harding, but he just made a really clean design.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's kind of, I'm looking at a list of his games right now. That's kind of his shtick. Everything he does is really nice, tight games. Imhotep, Sushi Go, Barren Park. Cacao is another one that I really enjoyed from him. Cities
Cacao.
recently. Yeah, Cacao.
That's what this game relies a lot on icons. So not a whole lot of text reading, which is I like. There are some somewhat confusing icons when you get to those level 3 cards. But the rule book has like an appendix or whatever that's really good about explaining everything. And I felt this way about like Heat, which I know we still have like a dispute on. But it's like once you understand the icons, like it's solid, like you're fine.
I also like that it's pretty fast.
Yes.
I mean, because it's so clean,
Yes.
it's a pretty quick playing game. Once you get the icons down, you can plan for your turn depending on the player count. What you plan for might get messed up, right? Someone might get the card you want, but you're pretty limited sometimes in what you're able to do anyway. So there's not a whole lot of AP, and you have flexibility. If nothing out there works for you, one of the options you can take that JK was alluded to earlier is you can draw a bunch of cards from one of the decks. They're, depending on what level your research is. But if your research is level 3, you can draw 3 from that deck, and then you can choose to either build one or put it in your reserve. And so there's options even there if you get kind of blocked out and you don't have a good path. Usually one of those cards will help you with something. Yeah.
Because that's what researching was a rule I got wrong in like IRL play. I thought whenever you researched, because like you can change the order when you go to put them back. They don't have to be in the exact same order, but you put them back on the bottom of the draw pile you took them from. And I had just been putting them on top. And because I remember thinking, I was like, this rule kind of like I was like, this is kind of a bummer. Like if you hate the market and you hate like the top, like let's say your research level's at 5, the top 5 cards of the draw pile, it's going to take you forever to get to a card you want. And then like little did I know, like someone corrected me and I was like, oh, that makes so much more sense. And so it's like you have an opportunity to kind of like cycle through. Because I think that's something about like space base where like if you don't like the market, you don't like the market, and you just kind of like deal with it.
You hope the market gets purged before it gets around to you.
Exactly. Yeah.
The other thing I like about this is sometimes with engine builders, you work to build this engine, and in some games you don't get to run it that much. Like you finally get your engine built, and it's like amazing. Then the game ends.
Yeah. And
it's like you get to trigger it once or something.
Yeah.
As long as you can get the cards you want and kind of get an engine going, you start having fun pretty fast.
Yes,
right?
I agree.
Agreed.
You get a lot of use out of the engine before the game ends.
Yeah, your very first turn usually, for the most part, is you reserve a card, which then triggers you to get it pick a marble. So you get a little engine, hit right there at the very beginning.
Dopamine.
And a little dopamine hit. That's right. But then, as long as you get, if you're able to, build an engine, you get to run it pretty much the entire game, and then have some really big turns if you get some good cards. So I like that too.
We played the BGA version of this, so online virtual. The real life version artwork is okay. It's not super stunning. It's fun little mechanical pictures. The thing that
does its job.
It does its job. Are the marbles totally necessary? Like, it's a fun component of the game and them dropping out of the chart, but you could have easily achieved that with a deck of cards, just flipping the next one over and seeing what sort of energy you get. So it's kind of a superfluous add-on there.
Sure, like a gimmick to have a gimmick.
Yeah,
for a little bit of novelty.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. So there is the idea that when you're playing the physical game, you can kind of see the next marble coming out, but you could simply do that with a card on top of the deck that you know it's coming to the cube, but it's not quite there yet.
Right.
Yeah, I see your point on that, JK. I think the marbles do make it stand out in my mind. I think if it was cards,
for sure.
this game would not really. I played Gizmos once before in 2019 before we played it today, and it has always stood out in my mind. Like, oh, it's the engine builder with marbles. And if they had used a deck of cards, I don't think it would stand out at all for me.
Correct. Yeah.
Because that's not like I feel like you could apply that thought process to like a lot of games. Like I'm thinking of like Quacks right off the top of my head. Like pulling those chips out of a bag is just so much more satisfying than like shuffling a deck and then just drawing randomly.
Yeah, it would also take up more space on the table because, you know, the marbles you have is public knowledge. So if it was cards instead, everyone would have to have area on the table to splay out cards. And yeah, I don't think it would have the same effect. I agree with you, Dwayne. It wouldn't be as memorable.
I mean, if you're playing the real game, it has a nice tactile feel to it, and thankfully the game makers did provide you with kind of like a little corral to put your marbles in, so they're not rolling all over the table once you've selected them.
It's adorable.
Well, when you're allowed to draw a random marble, it would be if it was a deck of cards, you'd like pick up the deck and just pull a random one out of the deck, which I guess it works, but to stick your hand into this hopper of marbles and then pull one out, it's just a way more fun experience.
Yep, agreed. Also, I'm realizing now that we're talking about how the marbles make this game so unique, they really missed an opportunity not replacing the O in the logo with a marble. What were they thinking?
They weren't, Dwayne.
I know. This is why I should do their marketing. Absolutely not. I'd be terrible. I just had one hit.
One hit wonder. Any negatives?
One hit 7 wonder.
Whoa. Any cons? Any negatives we want to talk about
I'm hard pressed to really come up with anything I hated about this game. Like it gets in there, it does its job. It's fun to play. It's really fun if you play the physical version. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it the way it is.
Yeah, I've never played this game and had a feeling of like, oh, I wish they changed that, or oh, that doesn't work, or that's dumb. Every time you play it, it just works. It just, the engine of the game runs.
It's the spot.
You know,
is it a keeper for you guys?
I think for me, it's a keep it to play, like 100%. It is in my collection, and I love bringing it out.
I guarantee I have a lock answer here because it was in my collection and I traded it away. So I'm going to do the same with this one.
Oh,
really?
Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay.
It's fine.
Is there anything in your collection that you feel like it fits that need, and so you're like, nah, I don't really need it because I have something else?
I don't know. You know, I started thinking about that, Dwayne, too, is what are my engine builders that replaced that? And there's nothing that really comes to mind. I think part of it was, you know, I brought it out to several events. I tried getting it played repeatedly and it just wasn't hitting the table. So
really? That's changing now.
It has kind of changed. So, but I also, we kind of talked about why we have changed as gamers. I've also realized that I can let other people in the group own the game and be content with playing it on occasion. I don't have to have everything.
That's growth.
Okay. Look at you, JK. I'm so proud of you.
I was a keep it to play. JK was traded away. Who's next?
I'll go next. So for me, it's definitely keep it to play. It's in my collection currently. It's just that if I want to introduce someone to the idea of engine building, it's the pure engine builder. I mean, there's just nothing pure than this. There's nothing that gets in the way when you're playing it. It just makes sense. It's not going to go anywhere. It'll be in my collection.
I'm going to mark this one as keep it to play, and not only that, I will specifically say, and I didn't have this thought before it was brought up earlier when we were talking, but I would let my Marvel Splendor go and replace it with this. I feel like it hits some of the same feels, but the marbles make it more fun. So yeah, that's what's going to happen for me.
Who won?
Well.
Not just one, but
not to brag or anything.
Ran away with it.
Really strong outing by James today.
You had a lead fairly early into the game and never looked back. Like it wasn't even close between you and the other three of us. The other three were reasonably close.
Yeah.
So we had a big fight for second place that I didn't win.
And Dwayne didn't win either.
Oh, I did terrible. I did absolutely terrible. I like kind of forgot. I thought I remembered how to play, and so I didn't do any background research before this morning. And I might have woke up a little bit late, so like I wasn't really comprehending who I was or what I was playing until maybe the fourth turn of the game, and then I started putting things together. And then like on the seventh turn of the game, I realized that things I had put together on the fourth turn of the game weren't quite correct. Yeah, I did not have a great outing with this. I really want to sit down and play it again now that it's fresh in my mind.
Good thing it's on BGA.
Yeah.
I took second place. I got lucky with the level 3 cards. And I was able to do what I call the marble strat. And got that level 3 card that gave me bonus points for the amount of marbles I had. And that was enough to boost me. I got very excited.
And just kept drawing marble after marble after marble.
It was because I was nervous at the beginning that my strategy wasn't going to pay off, because I usually don't have cards that trigger after picking marbles, and I had so many cards that allowed me to get more marbles, and so it worked out. I felt very lucky.
What was your marble capacity by the end?
11.
She was up to 11.
You start with 5, a limit of 5. Because that was one of the level 3 cards I got was +4.
Oh, nice.
That was that upgrade. So yes, I love this game. I was so excited to get second. After a long summer and fall of not picking games, I get to pick 2 in a row.
And you're going to finish out the season, the final game we play this season.
Oh,
right.
You're right.
No pressure.
End us on a good note.
That's a lot of pressure.
And remember, Emily, this one is important because we will be playing this live in person together at the upcoming Tennessee Game Day.
Yes.
So she chooses Rummy Cube. No, we're not going to do that.
Oh my God, I would throw a fit.
I did want to kind of make it super anticlimactic and just be like, we're going to do flip 7.
That's hilarious.
But
I would flip a table.
There you go.
I'd flip 7 tables.
Enough shenanigans. The game I have decided we're going to play, and someone else is going to have to bring it because I do not own this game, is, I want to say it's pronounced Tealetum?
Tealetum.
Okay.
2
Wow,
syllables.
cool.
Yeah.
I've got it.
Okay.
I've got it. I can bring it.
Oh no, I'm so sorry, Dwayne. It is a game that I felt like when it came out, a lot of people were talking about it, and then I just haven't heard about it a whole lot since I've played it. And I remember figuring it out kind of towards the end of the game. So I was like, I'm going to try this again. Let's bring it out.
All right.
Yeah, I have thoughts. I'll save them for the next show.
Have you played it, Dwayne?
I have played it twice.
Oh, okay. There we go.
Yeah. All right. Well. Let me get in the right mood. Well, speaking of future games of the show, is there a game you'd like us to play? Have thoughts about Tealetum? Because I sure do. Or other games we've discussed? Shoot us an email for a chance to have your comments read on a future episode. That email address is pod@gleefulmeeple.com.
All right. So I think we have talked about games long enough that it's time to play a game on air. No, not a board game, a game about board games. Today, JK has a glint in his eye.
We are wrapping up the board game SATs.
All right.
Hey.
So this is a game that we have broken into 3 different segments. We did the verbal segment and we did the math segment. Just as a reminder, your scores after those first 2 segments, James, you were sitting at 15 points. Dwayne, you were at 12. Emily, you're at 10. It is still anybody's game as we go into listening comprehension.
Oh, no.
Oh, dear God.
So here's what I have done for you folks today. I have gone on BGG and looked at simple game descriptions that are listed on each board game's page. I'm going to start reading you a description of a board game, and you will identify what board game I'm talking about. However, Just to further complicate things, at some point through my reading, I will suddenly deviate into a second game. So you're going to be listening to a description of 2 different games. You just have to tell me the 2 games that I'm talking about in this description.
Wonderful.
What state did you take the SATs in, JK?
Indiana. My education is not great. You all have a writing board. You will just simply write down the games as they come to mind. As an additional challenge, because these descriptions are rather lengthy and wordy, I am going to read them and test your comprehension by reading them only once.
So every description that you're going to give us includes 2 games?
Includes 2 games.
Okay.
And this is not a race.
Okay,
You'll read all the way through.
You can go. Yeah. And at no point do I go from one game to a second game back to the first game. It's just there's a dividing line at some point where I start talking about a different game.
Demarcation.
Yes.
Okay, fair enough.
Are you ready?
I'm excited.
So question 1. The nefarious Marquise de Cat has seized the great woodland, intent on harvesting its riches. Under her rule, the many creatures of the forest have banded together. This alliance will seek to strengthen its resources and subvert the rule of cats. Though some may sympathize with the alliance's hopes and dreams, these wanderers are old enough to remember the great birds of prey who once controlled the woods. From Everfrost to Bellsong, many a year have come and gone, but the time has come for new territories to be settled and new cities established. You will be the leader of a group of critters intent on such a task. There are buildings to construct, lively characters to meet, events to host. You have a busy year ahead of yourself. Will the sun shine brightest on your city before the winter moon rises? What 2 games did I just describe?
Oh, no.
Man, I got one of them. The second one I'm not sure of.
I'm so glad that I played the first one you mentioned recently.
I have, if it's the one I think it is, I have not played this game. I'm hoping that I know enough about it to get at least one of these.
Oh man, the only once is
And just for scoring purposes, you're going to get a point for each game you correctly name.
okay, good.
So there is half
Then I'm
credits.
locked in. In that case, I'm giving up on the second one.
Okay,
Do we have our choices?
Okay.
I'm locked in.
So Emily says Root and Everdell. James says Root and Everdell. And Dwayne says
I said Root and Full Moon City.
Root and Full Moon City. Full points for James and Emily.
Hey.
Let's
Let's
go.
go.
1 point for Dwayne for getting Root.
It was one of those.
I have not played either of those.
I had only played Everdell once, and so I was really nervous that my memory was just horrible on anything about it.
All right. Description 2. The excitement in the air is electric as the leaders round the last corner and head for the finish line. Each team has used cunning and skill to position their sprinter for this moment, but only one has done enough to pull off the win. Will your team lead from the front and risk exhaustion? Should you play it safe in the middle of the pack? Could you surprise everyone from striking from the back? Can you time your move perfectly? Anyone can race, few becomes champions. However, the fun does not end with a single race. The rules include the ability to customize your cars, use a pre-generated character, add slipstreaming rules and road debris, and change tire types to modify your distance rolls. There are also variations for a single lap race or multiple laps with pit stops to repair some of your damage points.
Oh.
Wow, you tricksy trickster. Damage points. That's what's getting me.
Uh-huh. It's a game I think we've mentioned a couple times, but I don't know that everybody at the table's played it.
I've got I feel like my guess on the second one is decent, but the first one I'm having some trouble figuring out which direction to go on this. But I'm locked in. I'll go ahead and.
Those of us here at the table with us, Dwayne, are still looking rather confused. Do we have answers in?
I
got
perplexed.
answers.
All right. Emily went with Flamme Rouge and Thunder Road. James, Flamme Rouge and Jamaica. Dwayne,
I went with Camel Up and Formula D.
Each of you gets a point because it was Flamme Rouge and Formula D.
Mm.
Good job, guys.
Formula D has damage points.
Yeah.
It
Okay.
has characters?
Yeah. You can customize, like you can either play the base game, which everybody has the same driver, or you can have drivers with asymmetric abilities. Side note, some of these have some puns and witticisms to it too. So, that there's some things that could happen. All right.
Happen.
Question number 3. In 1945, unlikely allies toppled Hitler's war machine while humanity's most devastating weapons forced the Japanese empire to its knees in a storm of fire. Where once stood many great powers, there stood only 2. The world had scant months to sigh its collective relief before a new conflict threatened. Unlike the titanic struggles of the preceding decades, this conflict would be waged not primarily by soldiers and tanks, but by spies and politicians, scientists and intellectuals, artists and traders. At the start of each galactic age, the game board is uniquely and strategically constructed from among 51 galaxy tiles that feature everything from lush new planets and supernovas to asteroid fields and gravity rifts. Players are dealt a hand of these tiles and take turns creating the galaxy around Mechatol Rex, the capital planet seated in the center of the board. An ion storm may block your race from progressing through the galaxy, while a fortuitously placed gravity rift may protect you from your closest foes. The galaxy is yours to both craft and dominate.
Okay.
I'm somewhat confident in my guesses.
I don't know.
I hope you're doing what I think you're doing here.
Do we all have answers?
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
No.
Nope. Too late, James.
Oh, it's one of two. I'm going to change mine, and if I regret this.
Oh.
No.
I might
We have
regret
a
it.
last second change here.
Okay.
All right. Emily, your choices are Axis and Allies and Cosmic Frog. James, you say
Okay.
Twilight Struggle and Twilight Imperium. Dwayne?
I said Twilight Imperium and Twilight Struggle.
It is Twilight
other
Struggle
way
and
around.
Twilight
Yeah.
Imperium.
Yes.
Yeah, I haven't done either of those.
I originally had Blitzkrieg.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I had Scythe at first, and I was like, no, the 2 players. What really nailed it for me is when I got Twilight Imperium. I was like, oh, I think I might see where he's going with this one.
That makes sense.
All right. Current score, Dwayne and James tied at 4, Emily with 3. Moving on to the next one. Draft cards and pick the right ones to position your warrens on the 100 squares of the board. Provide resources to your colonies, build new cities to increase your influence, and plan your strategy to score big at the end of the game. Settle in lakesides or fields to collect water and grow carrots, gather mushrooms in the green forest, and climb the highest mountains to discover rare and precious resources. Secretly rally rabbit lords and recruit skillful masters to make your cities and resources even more valuable at the end of the game. To do so, you'll need to use all of your cunning and resources to stay ahead of the competition. As you improve your operation, become more infamous, and upgrade to more lavish speakeasies and even casinos, you'll attract the attention of the outside mafia and the police. You'll need to use your leverage to keep your business running and receive your share from Lucky Luciano.
jeez. You might have lost me on this one, JK.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. That's kind of the intent.
Woo!
Emily is scanning my wall to figure out what games I used.
Yeah.
What she doesn't realize is most of these aren't even in my collection.
I know. I'm just even looking for a chance that something you own will jog my memory, because I feel like I should know at least one of these, but I don't know.
What is there's a game I'm thinking of that I don't.
Oh, I don't even think my guesses make sense. I'm just going with it at this point.
Dwayne, are you good?
What makes me mad is I have a really good guess on what the first one might be, but I cannot remember the whole name of the game.
Oh no.
Okay, well then that
Yeah.
makes me definitely feel worse.
All right.
That I'm
All
wrong.
right,
Let's
go.
see what we got. Emily.
This is a Stone Age in Las Vegas.
Emily went with Stone Age and Las Vegas. James chose Bunny Kingdom and The Godfather. And Dwayne said, Dwayne just
God,
realized what the
Bunny
name of the game
Kingdom
was.
it. I put Bunny Hollow because I could not remember the second word of the title
Okay.
in Lords of Vegas.
So we went with Bunny Kingdom. So 1 point for Dwayne. I'm sorry, 1 point for James. The one you didn't get is new this year, Speakeasy.
I didn't think you'd do that.
I just saw that on the table.
Yep.
I really didn't think you'd do it.
'Cause I think I saw it at Gen Con.
Yeah, it's the new Lacerda, correct?
Yeah, it's just delivering right
Yes.
now.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe I didn't see it. But yeah, anyway.
All right, that was a mean one. We'll get back to some fun ones here. All right, your next one. In the most distant reaches of the world, magic still exists, embodied by the spirits of the land, of the sky, and of every natural thing. As the great powers of Europe stretch their colonial empires further and further, they will inevitably lay claim to a place where spirits still hold power. And when they do, the land itself will fight back alongside the islanders that live there. Use the forces you gathered to battle your enemies in familiar locations, but make sure not to draw your madness chips or your supporters will abandon your cause and you will be out of the fight. Can you muster enough strength to win the battle, or will you just try to complete quests instead by meeting the right conditions, such as gaining region bonuses and set collection throughout the game?
Wait. The set collection threw me off. I'm
James
trying to
looks so confused.
trying to remember this. It has to be, but
Yeah, I felt so good in that first round, and then I just never mind.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm
I've got-
ready.
I've got
You
some
good?
guesses.
All right. Emily says Spirit Island and El Grande. James says
Spirit Island is it. I
Spirit
bet.
Island and Wonderland's War. And Dwayne
And I
says
said Mystic Vale and Wonderland's War.
2 points for James for getting them both
Well done,
right.
James.
Both Emily and Dwayne got one. That was Spirit Island and Wonderland's War.
set collection. What am I forgetting?
Some of the bonus cards do involve set collection.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, some bonus cards.
Yeah. All right, your next one. All the members of the team sit on one side of the table and they take on a particular role within the submarine, with the division of labor for these roles being dependent on the number of players in the game. Roles include the captain, who is responsible for moving the submarine and announcing some details of this movement. The radio operator, listening to the opposing captain's orders and try to decipher where that sub might be in the water. The engineer, working in the munitions room to prepare torpedoes, mines, and other devices that will allow for combat. The operations expert can build research stations which are needed to find cures for the diseases and which will allow greater mobility between cities. The scientist needs only 4 cards of a particular disease to cure it instead of the normal 5, but the diseases are spreading quickly and time is running out. If one or more diseases spreads beyond recovery, or if too much time elapses, the players all lose. If they cure all 4 diseases, they all win.
Nice.
I cannot remember the name of the first game. I think I have it. I always get it mixed up with another game, which is the one I think I wrote down.
Oh, heck yeah. Maybe I have a chance. I don't know.
We're going to do 2 more questions after this one.
Perfect. I was hoping you were going to give like a couple more sentences on that first game, and then when you switched, that was so jarring. I was like, I have looked at that rule book at least 3 times a month.
All
For
right, Emily, what do you have?
Yeah, all of that.
We have Deep Sea Endeavor and Pandemic. James. Sonar and Pandemic. Dwayne.
I have Captain Sonar and Pandemic.
It is Captain
Oh,
Sonar.
come
and Pandemic.
on.
That Sonar is a different game.
Come on.
And
Yeah.
you know what really confuses me about that one is you feel like Sonar would be the original game and Captain Sonar would be the specialized one, and it's
Right.
it's the
'Cause you
other
got a
way around.
promotion.
Yeah. I knew I was missing it. I was like,
With 2 questions left to go, we have James at 8, Dwayne at 7, Emily at 5.
Let's go.
All right. 2,000 years ago, the Roman Empire ruled the lands around the Mediterranean Sea. With peace at the borders, harmony inside the provinces, uniform law, and a common currency, the economy thrived and gave rise to mighty Roman dynasties as they expanded throughout numerous cities. Guide one of these dynasties and send colonists to the remote realms of the empire. Develop your trade network and appease the ancient gods for their favor, all to gain the chance to emerge victorious. To impress the chieftain, you need victory points, with those being acquired primarily by raiding settlements, taking plunder, and making offerings to the chieftain. How you use your plunder is also vital to your success. Players take turns in a clockwise order, and on your turn, you place a worker and resolve its action, then pick up a different worker to resolve its action.
We've played this game. What is it called?
The first one took me a minute, but it finally clicked.
Did we play this game?
I'm ready.
Emily, what do you got?
I have Veiled Fate and Viscounts of West Kingdom.
Veiled Fates and Viscounts of the West Kingdom. James, you have Concordia and Raiders of the North Sea. Dwayne, you have...
Gosh. I am so mad because Concordia was definitely on my mind. I was like, no, I don't think it's that. I went with a game, might not even be a game, Acropolis. I don't even know what that is.
Acropolis?
And I got
Acropolis.
nothing for the second one. All
That's
right.
gonna be
Fantastic.
2 points for James for Concordia.
Oh,
and
get out
Raiders
of
the
here,
North Sea.
man. Well, there goes my chance.
I had the right
Wah,
publisher. The wrong one.
All right, folks, your final clue. The heron flies over the Himeji sky, while the daimyo from the top of the castle watches his servants move. Gardeners tend the pond where the koi carp live, warriors stand guard on the walls, and courtiers crowd the gates, pining for an audience that brings them closer to the innermost circles of the court. When night falls, the lanterns are lit, and the workers return to their clan. Lemonade? They want lemonade. What is the world coming to? I want commercials for burgers on all channels every 15 minutes. We are the home of the original burger, not a hippie health haven. And place a billboard next to that house on the corner. I want them craving a beer every second they sit in this posh new garden.
Okay.
What?
Got those. Easy.
Really?
This was my favorite one by far. Yeah.
Oh,
And I also, and I see what you did there, JK.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I mean, it's got to be. I've never played it, but yes.
Okay.
All right,
I missed a letter.
Emily has.
Hadrian's Wall and Food Chain Magnet.
James has. The White Castle and Food Chain Magnate.
Dwayne?
I have White Castle and Food Chain Magnate.
That's
It
funny.
is White
That's
Castle and
hilarious.
Food Chain Magnate.
Well done, JK.
All right. So with this portion of the BG SAT done, James, you scored 11 points here, bringing you to a grand total of 26. Dwayne scored 9, taking him to a grand total of 21. Emily scored 6, taking her to a grand total of 16. James, you can go to any board game college you choose.
Amazing.
I'm gonna have to go
Congratulations
to
and thank you guys.
Board Game Community College.
Great job, James. And well done, JK. That
Yes,
was a
thank
lot
you.
of fun.
That was great.
All right, gang, that is going to do it for today. This is our first show in November. By the time you hear us on our next one, we will have recorded elements of our show at TGD because we're going to play live on this next game. What game are we playing again?
Teal'tum.
Teal'tum. We're going to do that live at TGD. Dwayne's going to be back in town for a week. We are so excited to have him. Can't wait to see you guys next weekend. Let's start off by thanking our sponsor, InGen. InGen, founded in 1975 by John Hammond, doing all sorts of genetic research for us. InGen, building tomorrow out of yesterday. Surely nothing can go wrong with this company.
Definitely not.
Emily, do you get that one?
No.
Man. Think Jurassic Park.
Oh.
There you go. Listeners, thanks for joining us today. If you do want to email us, that is at pod@gleefulmeeple.com, or you can find us at Instagram at gleefulmeeplepod. Come see us at any of our events in November and December. We got one more show to wrap up this season. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, Gleeples.